Included in the monies approved to offset urgent expenses not foreseen during the presentation of the 2021 budget is $10 billion to support the government's flood relief and flood recovery efforts. The government also now has at its disposal an additional $1.5 billion for the Ghana Sugar Corporation Gaisuku. There are also monies for several infrastructural projects, grounds enhancement, and the purchase of drugs and medical supplies, including COVID-19 vaccines. The government is expected to procure several thousand doses more COVID-19 vaccines after some $619.2 million was approved by the Committee of Supply. The funds were approved under two financial papers presented by Senior Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh. In response to the opposition objections, the finance minister explained that the funds were to address critical issues of national importance.
All the papers include a $10 billion request for flood-related interventions. The paper also includes a number of other very important initiatives for which we require supplementary appropriations. First of all, there has been an immediate response to the crisis. There is flood water on the land. We have had to deploy additional equipment, we have had to deploy additional pumps, and that effort is still ongoing. So literally addressing the reality of flood waters on the land and removing the water from the land. So I'd say, one, the effort of addressing, the physical effort of addressing the flood and removing the water from the land involves, of course, additional cost, relocation of pumps, purchase of fuel, etc.
Dr. Singh said while the government welcomes questioning because it espouses principles of transparency, accountability, and openness of government, he believes many of the questions were absurd.
So the first would be to address the immediacy of the crisis. Secondly, delivery of relief to people. In many communities, people don't have access to food, they don't have access to markets, they don't have access to cleaning supplies. We have had to scramble to mobilize emergency supplies to these communities. That effort is still underway. That is a tremendous cost as well. Thirdly, we're going to have to help producers, farmers in particular, but here again, people who are involved in the productive sector, I'm hesitate to name one group or another, but we're going to have to help producers to get back on their feet.
The first financial paper sought $1.2 billion in current estimates and $623.5 million in contingency fund advances for the period April 1st to June 8, 2021. This totals $1.9 billion. Included are funds for drugs and medical supplies, land and water transport for the Ghana Police Force, and air and land and water transport for the Ghana Defence Force. The second financial paper sought $12.3 billion in current estimates and $9 billion in supplementary provisions for the period ending December 31, 2021. This totals $21.3 billion. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.